What's happening, y'all? We back! Fresh off of UFC 319 from Chicago, Illinois. This is Fight Court. I'm Din Thomas. We got my man Ryan Quinn in the hizzy, and we are making it happen. I had a good night last night. This is an episode we bringing to y'all a little earlier. I had a good night last night at the show. Ryan, I don't know how the night was for you, but I'm sure you watched it on TV. How was the night for you?
I had a great night. I thought it was a really good night of fights. And but let's talk about your night.
Yeah. I don't read the message boards. I know that sometimes you are a little on top of that. So I don't know what hate I got from last night, but I felt like I did all right.
Man, I was about to engage in one. It was more like these I told you so's, but I was like, watch the video. He picked Khamzat. I was the one.
Oh, was it?
Like, and then, I wasn't going to bring this up because this is a whole nother topic, but then the MMA Fighters Association, they, when I said congratulations, partner, one of them retweeted or said, "Oh, shocker, member of the fighter committee now promoted to UFC commentary." I was like, well, he's been doing UFC. I did commit. I was like, he's been doing UFC commentary for years. And have you seen his advocacy over the last 2 or 3 years, everything he's done for fighters with the ABC? And then I forgot what they said. But then I was like, how many times have you reached out to him for lobbying efforts? And I got no response. So, and it's just, I don't know. Have you ever, do you know who they are?
Who is it?
I guess they're like trying to they're all about the Ali Act, which we've had Mike Mazzulli on here, which is probably why they got a hold of us. And they just convincing you of being a conflict of interest or whatever for being on both or anything.
Well, here's my thing. First off, all these motherfuckers talk shit about me and my position towards fighters. And you know what the crazy thing about that is? No one has probably dedicated and invested more time into the benefit of other fighters than me. Bingo. Like personal time and livelihood into fighters than I have. Yep. Free time. So all this talk that these guys do about, we want fighters to make more money. We want fighters to do this. But what are you really doing to help? What have you really done to help a fighter? No one. In the last 25 years that I know has done more personal free work to help fighters advance in their career.
That's what I said. I said, go look back, basically do your homework. I even put a video that I had on my last YouTube channel when I was talking to the Fighter Committee, Fighter Foundation. And I was like, we've had these conversations. I feel like, and I said, why don't you start your own YouTube channel if you want to start doing that stuff? And I go, oh, I don't have one. So we'll go make one. That's what we did. And then it's like, I don't know, like we listen, I think maybe it's because of the connection with Mike Mazzulli, but actually I haven't spoken to Mike in a while, but I don't know. I feel like it comes off more like they're more interested in screen time than they are in actually solving the issue. Although
no, man, they're actually don't care about the issue. They actually just care about wanting to feel important as if they can solve an issue. Everybody wants to be a martyr. Everybody wants to be like, see, I was in charge. I helped fighters do this. I help fighters do that, just by talking about an issue that they don't really know a lot about. But in terms of like actually doing shit for fighters, no one is really willing to do shit to actually help fighters. And RJ Clifford brings this up all the time too, because when people were talking about all helping fighters, and I would always say, listen, UFC fighters, in relation to the grand scheme of MMA, UFC fighters are fine. They're doing good. So if you actually care about fighters, not UFC fighters, but fighters in general, I said, go to a local gym. Find a struggling up-and-coming regional fighter and sponsor him. If you really care about fighters, find a local up-and-coming regional fighter and sponsor that person. And you know what everybody said? Oh, how dare you expect us to pay the UFC's fighter? I was like, no. I'm not talking about UFC fighters. I'm talking about a random local MMA fighter with aspirations of being a UFC fighter. Help them out. If you really want to help fighters out, because for every one UFC fighter that you are complaining is underpaid, there are 100 other fighters that wish they were in that spot. that need
Absolutely.
help.
Thousands.
Thousands that need help. So don't give me this bullshit about, oh, Din Thomas is a conflict of interest because he's speaking out of both sides of his mouth. No, I'm all for fighters, and I've got the proof is in the pudding because I've put in real man hours into helping fighters, not just UFC guys, but everybody on the come up.
And I do want to give people like Carla Duran, Eric McGregor, Rose Gracie their due. They really try to push this, but I feel like other people like maybe it's just the person behind these social media accounts, but it's just like they're not seeing the grand scheme of things. Like there's more to it than going on a podcast. I enjoy talking fight science, and when you talk like in fight analysis, I mean, I don't know if I'm necessarily the person. Oh, it's a cool caricature in the back. I don't know if I'm necessarily the person to spearhead the fighting the Aliak movement. I said my piece to the president of the ABC. I said I didn't like what was going on. I don't know what more of these people want me to do. Now, they asked me to go down, but they really just wanted me to go down and do a podcast down there. I don't have the time for that. I mean, I've done a lot. I've had committee members on my former channel, referees, head of commissions, all of it. And if go see those conversations that we've had, and then you too on your other channel. Wasn't Mike Rizzoli on your Sirius podcast once?
Yeah, we've had numerous guys on our thing trying to talk this stuff out.
Yeah, regardless, it's not on me and you. Like we're doing our part, and I don't peel back the onion if you want to see exactly what we're doing or what we have done as a cute, instead of saying, oh, we don't want you on the show. It's not that we don't want you on the show. It's just we're doing this other shit. So anyway, I'm sorry. I probably should have brought it on before we went, but
no, it's fine with me. I'm people, like I said, people just want to feel important and don't really have a platform or a real they don't have a real stake in it to feel important. So it's easy for them to get on these like in Twitter or Instagram and talk to feel important because that's their way of feeling important. But when it comes to making real change happen, or even just doing something little, they can't do that. They won't do that. They'll just talk. So that's the bottom line.
And to those people, if you see this, I want to know how many times you paid for fighters' medicals, how many times you got them fucking equipment out of your own pocket, how many times you drove them to fights, to practice, how many times you got them meals, because we did all that.
I've done that. I've been doing that for 25 years and I still do it. And to hear these clowns call me a clown and be like, oh, I don't care about fighters. I still do it.
I manage fighters and I don't even call it managing because I don't get paid. I'm just sending emails to make sure they're protected from shithead managers, so I don't want to hear that I'm not doing it. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back or you for that matter. Just this is the life that we are in, and we just do the next right thing just because we don't want to bring it here. We make moves for the fact to make moves. This is something else. This is completely different. Anyway.
Yeah, I guess it's hard for people to understand because the scope in which they see the landscape of MMA is so dominated by the UFC is that they think that the UFC is the end all be all, like in terms of like that's what MMA is, because they see the UFC and then they feel UFC fighters are being treated unfairly, so they assume that that's just the way it is. But the reality is like I said before, Ryan, is that for every one guy in the UFC, it's just a small portion of all MMA fighters. Like I be in the gym at Goat Shed or Marquez MMA in Philly, and it's just all these young, hungry guys that are just living check to check, barely making it, surviving, holding on to this dream, trying to make it, and they got no help, right? They got no help. No one advocating for them. No one advocating for them. But on the other side, like these UFC guys, they doing all right. Trust me, they doing all right. And then all of a sudden we got all these lobbyists like, oh, the UFC guys need this, they need that. No, you don't need help. The other guys need help. Let's lobby for them.
They don't even lobby. They're just activists. They just have an opinion. You know,
Yeah. They're not even lobbying. They're not trying to do real change.
They should have went to the conference. That's where the conversation should happen. You know, here it's aesthetics. You know, here it's complimentary. The conversation should happen at the conference. Carla Duran was there. So, all right. But anyway, moving on. Why are we doing it tonight instead of Tuesday night? Because you're going to be busy on Tuesday. So tell us what's going on.
Oh, Tuesday, I am commentating my first Dana White Contender Series. Yeah. Big league, Din Thomas.
So who got sick?
Nobody. No, they actually asked me to do it a few months ago. I just don't like talking about all these things, man. I just try to show up and do my job, man. But I've known about this for a little bit, and
very cool.
You know, again, man. Say what you want about the UFC, but when you're willing to work, they'll give you work. You know what I'm saying? Like I get work because I'm willing to work. So I've been UFC BJJ, Dana White Contender Series, pre-show, post-show. They've been keeping me busy. Man. And now that Paramount got us, I'm gonna be on CBS hopefully.
Oh yeah. No more yellow jackets.
Yeah, no more yellow jackets. I don't know what CBS crew wear, the Paramount crew wear, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. So
all right. So let's talk about the rest of the stuff at the night. Let's just start at the top. Best way to do it. The main event. I was going back and forth with some people. I loved what I saw. I had DDP, but I'm not hating on what I was so, even my wife was watching, like, dude, this guy's a beast. You know, like she knows more about MMA than she thinks she does because of me. But it was really damn impressive. Not the takedowns, the ground control was really impressive, and the fact that he kept that up for 25 minutes. The baby punches, I know people were giving him shit, but there was really nothing else to do there. I give who ref that? That wasn't Mark. Yeah, it was Mark Goddard.
Mark Goddard.
I give him credit for not stopping. However, that one stand up in the fifth, I felt that was some show shit. I don't think he should have stood them up, but I don't know, maybe it was the fourth. There was one in the fifth that was justified. But overall, I was just damn impressed with Khamzat. I think that was the most impressive Khamzat we've seen. I felt that DDP's takedown defense could have been better. It looks like he trained how to sprawl, but he didn't train how to sprawl, wizard crossface, sprawl, wizard head position. If you watch, whenever he would defend the double leg and Khamzat would go to a single, and then DDP's knee would dip down. He tried to stand up. Either way, I felt that could have been better on DDP's part. But man, I love what I saw. Anyway, go ahead. What do you got?
No, I mean, clearly, you know me, I'm hard on these guys sometimes because you're the best in the world, and you have a responsibility to always try to show it at every single time. And I don't think that DDP didn't realize what he was fully getting himself into. I think, and that's just what happens sometimes in camp. Like when you're in camp and you're a world champ, like you have to maintain a positive attitude. So when you're in camp, like you feel as though you're covering everything. And I went back and watched some of DDP's training for this camp, and you're right. Like he was like sprawling and getting up and punching and not considering the second or third attack from Khamzat. And Khamzat never just shoots and finishes. Like his second and third attack is so built into his first attack that you think it's his first attack.
Yep.
So when you initially stop his penetration, like he's already moved on to a different finish. And that's what he does so well. And it's hard for guys to really keep up with that and I think DDP just thought that, you know what, I'm the bigger guy. I'm the champ. I'm the dude right now. So I'm going to sprawl on him and I'm going to beat him up. And I think also too, is it in that first round, I think he expected that. I think he wanted that. And I think he thought that Khamzat was going to get tired doing that. Yeah. And that was just an oversight in camp. I'm sure going back, they're going to look at that and be like, we made some mistakes in camp. We made some mistakes.
And it's funny, those crucifix positions, those meant so much to the fight because you could do some active rest there if you're Khamzat.
Yeah, for sure.
So those were crucial positions.
And I'm not a guard. I don't believe in fully passing the guard in MMA, just because in order to maintain that position, you have to be chest to chest. And if you're chest to chest, you actually don't have a lot of space to do real damage. Like you can't engage your body into strikes by being chest to chest.
Yes.
But in his situation, I mean, he was just so safe and resting and wasn't exerting a lot of energy. And Hamza, and not Hamza, but DDP paid the price for that. He really paid the price for sort of an oversight in camp and not just preparing for a situation like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that definitely. I wonder who he had. Everyone's like, who's his wrestling coach? Actually, I kind of like that casual fans, like my good friends, like, who's this guy's wrestling coach? He should be fired. Like they didn't ask that question a couple of years ago. It was like, and I'm like, I don't know about that, but I definitely would have switched some things up. I would have definitely like single leg defense, double leg defense, more cage defense. Um, Now I like that they're going forward with him or they're entertaining the idea of putting him in Dubai in 2 months. I think it makes sense to put him in Dubai, but I think that there's a real reason behind that reason why they want to do that. And you alluded to why previously, which is why you were getting flack. He's always hurt. He's healthy right now. Keep the ball rolling. Keep him active while he's healthy. Get him going. I think that's why they want to do it. And plus, if you got to get him a matchup, what are we 8-9 weeks out? That's quote unquote short notice for a title fight against some other challenger, right? So it's I think it's a good move to put him in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, but who do you put him in with? That's the question.
Shit, man. I mean, Anthony Hernandez is fresh in our minds. What's his name? We just saw everybody there.
Well, I think who?
Rainer de Ritter.
Right. I mean, you could do that. Like, I wouldn't be mad if they did that. Like that's something that they can definitely do. And I would, like people think that like I'm hating on Hamza. Like I want him to fight. I'm not saying it because I don't want him to fight. I want him to fight. That's the purpose of me saying it's a disaster if he don't fight. I want him to fight. And it seemed like Reiner de Ritter was ready. I talked to him last night, and he seemed to be up for the challenge. Like I think when you're a guy like Reiner de Ritter, you see a performance like that, and it's very helpful. Like I remember all throughout my career, I used to watch like Eve Edwards fought a lot of guys before I did. And I would always use his matches to be like, okay, this is what worked, this is what didn't work. And when you're Reiner de Ritter, who's a cerebral type fighter, you can watch the DDP fight and go, all right, this is what I got to do differently. It's a lot of stuff that a guy like Reiner de Ritter, who's very good at jiu-jitsu, can take away from that and be like, all right, can't let these positions happen.
Yep. Okay. I think those are the two names that we got to roll with if we see something in October. And I think that Reiner would be the first one. Yeah, I think that Reiner over Anthony for the time being.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, Reiner just beat, former champ.
Yep.
And Robert Whitaker. So that totally makes sense. It's just a matter of, is Reiner going to be ready? And
yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be willing to make that turnaround. I know Kyle Bahayo was like, "Oh yeah, I'll fight him, but let's take me off this Imavov card."
Yeah.
I think because like Mike Bond asked him, he was like, "Would you be willing to turn around?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course I'll fight him. Just take me off this card, and I'll go ahead and fight him in October." That wasn't the question. He was wondering if you was willing to fight Imavov and then Hamza, and I don't think anybody's willing to do that. But
yep. What else happened? MVP. Good for him, man.
Connor, are you just gonna skip over your favorite fighter?
Oh, dude. Sorry. Whoa, I screwed up. That fight.
Initially, Ryan, I would have called racism if you didn't bring up MVP.
God. Holy oof. Oh yeah, let's talk about Aaron Pico. Let's talk about the Aaron Pico fight. So I was about to. I'm so happy you did that because right up until the elbow, I'm like, oh, the Bellator curse is broken. And then
he was doing so well, right?
Oh, dude, yeah. And then it's like, and then it happened. It's like, of course that happened. He was coming forward like that, and it's like, shit. Oh man, he really looked good. But Lerone showed a lot of. He dealt with adversity. He was that was a that was a very frustrating round up until it wasn't. And
Well, he showed that he's a big time player too, man.
yeah, yeah,
That's the
that's
one thing about those spots is like when you're in those spots, are you able to make a big play?
yeah, and he did big time, big time. And I think that did seal his approval for a title shot.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. And I do really feel bad for Aaron Pico in a way because Aaron Pico, he hasn't had it easy, man. He's always had all this pressure on him, and everybody's always thought he's been the best. And then he goes and fights his very first fight, uh, MMA fight ever, and he gets choked out, right? And then he builds himself back up into this monster, and then he finally gets signed to the UFC, and he has a very favorable opponent in Movsar, and Movsar's like, nah, fight Lerone Murphy, and Lerone Murphy knocks him out in his debut, and he's looking good too, which leads me to believe this too. We talked about this too. Is it MMA? Like you can't be too much of anything in MMA. Like anything too much is bad. Too much
Yep.
wrestling, too much jiu-jitsu, too much anything is bad. Even too aggressive is
Yes.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah. If I mean, it's easy to say this now, but if I were him, I would have definitely, instead of trying to get him against the cage with the forward pressure, I would have just relied on the footwork with lateral footwork and feints and stuff like that.
But that's his style is always to
Yeah.
put pressure on people.
Hmm.
And man, and it wasn't even a big mistake. It wasn't even that big of a mistake. It was just perfectly timed by Lerone Murphy to be like, here he comes, bip.
Yeah.
I mean, uh, like had he been this far back, right? This far, like this far away, that elbow misses, and then and Aaron Pico grabs his back.
Yeah. Wins the round.
Yeah, wins it, grabs his back and wins it. Like this much.
Mhm.
Aaron Pico grabs his back and wins the round. Like MMA cannot be predicted. That is, I don't care who you think you are, how smart you think you are. MMA cannot be predicted.
Oh, trust me. Whenever my friends ask me for picks, I go like really hot for 2 weeks and then I'm dead for a month. Like, so it can't. There's just so many ways to win and lose in this game.
The only thing I'd say is fair to do in MMA is to just bet on underdogs.
Yeah, that seems to be what people do.
Yeah, just bet on the underdog because they always have a chance.
So, do you think this drastically drops Pico stock? I
A
don't think it
little bit.
does. I think it does a
He'll
little
have
bit.
to earn it. It'll drop his stock only because all the other Bellator guys fumbled.
Yeah, yeah,
So he'll have to do what Pitbull did and just earn it back.
yep.
And
I
yeah,
wonder
he'll have to
if
earn it
he,
back.
hopefully they give him time to. Well, he's gonna have to take time off now, but then he'll get a full camp, and he'll be in there. He'll be in the mix. They'll put him in. They'll get him. There's a lot of people in that weight class, as we've talked about many times. I could see that's a Dan Ige fight in the making for sure. Um, he that's those
Poor,
two don't
poor
catch each
Danny
other up.
Gay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I tell
Um,
you what, man, I honestly, I think he should, if I'm him, I'm calling out Movsar.
yeah. That
Just
I
call
think
just
that's
call out Movsar again. Now, for sure, Movsar won't do it because he'll be like, no, you just lost.
Mhm.
But honestly, here's my thing about Pico too, is that he's shown in his career so far that he doesn't have enough defense to deal with his lack of durability to
Yep.
be a sustainable world champion.
Okay, I'm with you on that.
You with me on this? Like, does that make sense? Like, I'm
Explain a
not
little
saying
bit
I'm
more
not
though.
saying he has bad defense, and I'm not saying that he's fragile, but I'm saying to be a world champion, his defense isn't good enough for him to take big shots like this. Like when you see a guy like Diego Lopez, like his defense isn't good enough either, but he seems to be pretty damn durable.
Yeah,
Like he seems to be able to take some pretty good shots. And then you look at a guy like Gene Silva, we don't know how he takes big shots because his defense is so good that he don't take big shots. And Aaron Pico's defense isn't that good to where he can avoid big shots.
I feel like Diego Lopez does a very good job of kind of hiding behind his punches when he's throwing combinations, and that's like built-in defense. But yeah, with Aaron Pico, yeah, when you come forward that hard and you're looking to, you know, 1-2, body, rip to the body, takedown. But it's there's a reason why that looks so impressive. Well, obviously he's world class, but it's because he's for lack of a better word being reckless.
Yeah, but it's just his defense isn't good enough for him to be for his durability.
For sure. So how do you fix that other than just shadow boxing?
Well, no, you got to take a little steam off. You got to take a little flare off, and you can't be as aggressive, and you got to be a little bit more defensive because you know that like if you get hit with a big shot, you're not going to be able to take it.
I'm so big on feints, like really big, like overly. Like, I over exaggerate on things. I mean, not over exaggerate. I'm very big as them as a key weapon, and I feel like adding more feints into a shadow boxing, into a sparring competition, could add to that defense because you get the tell from your opponent. It also resets you into your stance. Maybe if he adds more feints, I gotta go back. I wasn't counting his feints. Sometimes I start counting feints. I wasn't counting at that fight, but maybe if he adds more there, it would be good.
But I think Pico's a tough dude, and it's not over for him yet. And there's still an opportunity. He's still young too. There's still an opportunity for him to become a champion. But I just don't know. Like I said, I'm talking in terms of long standing, being in there for a good minute.
Yep.
But and I'm not even saying that he will become champion. But I do think that there is a future for him in the UFC where he's still exciting. People still pay good money to see him. He's still fighting big fights. I still think that that's in his future. But I just can't imagine him being this champion on a 4 fight title run.
Right. So, what else? Go down.
MVP. Keep us on track here. MVP.
Yeah, man. I like that fight for him from the beginning. I know a lot of other people pick Cannonier. I just felt the way Cannonier scores, I felt that he was going to have trouble with that against MVP, and that's exactly what we saw. I was saying watching, I'm like, I would love to spar with MVP because those are the kind of people that I had fits with, and I want to drive the Cadillac. I want to see if I can crack the code.
That motherfucker would piece your ass up.
Oh, dude, jeez. I would just stop. I would do a Dylan Dennis and just stop boxing and start grappling. Start like pull guard in a fucking boxing match.
Man, I knew that was a tough fight for Jared Cannonier too. Like somebody asked me what the locks were, and I actually picked that one as the lock of the night because, and even when I did the interview with John Crouch, and John Crouch says, "Yeah, we're fighting MVP because he coaches Jared Cannonier." He's like, "We're fighting MVP," and I was like, "Ooh, that's just part of the problem." Is that like I know MVP is like 39, but he's
41.
MVP is 41.
41, yeah, I didn't believe that either. Yeah, he's 41.
I was like, well, but he carries it so well.
Yeah.
And Jared Cannonier was never a mover. And so I just knew he'd have problems with the movement, the vision, and the length. I just knew it because you can't, especially when you get older, you can't adjust to that fast enough. And I knew he'd have problems with that. And it was right. I was right about that.
Joe Rogan said something that I don't necessarily agree with. I love what I saw at an MVP, and I love when I see it. The only people that came close to do what he does is like a Lyoto Machida or not even Lyoto. He's not a point striker, but like maybe like a Stephen Thompson back in the day. But he said this is what MMA is missing is elite point strikers, and I'm like, I feel like we saw too much of that. It would get a little boring on the feet. I like seeing it when it's mixed in, and I think it's very effective for a lot of people, or it could be very effective for a lot of people. But I wouldn't necessarily start point striking, changing my game if I'm a grappling based fighter or something like that.
Well, there's a reason why we don't see it. I'm going to tell you what that reason is. Like if you look at this, point strikers, they don't even really do it that much at the level. Like if you look at the ones like MVP and Wonder Boy, they're both 40.
Yeah.
They're like that's the age of like the good point. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't find like an 18-year-old like coming up in the point striking circuit that would be good at MMA because like they're probably doing jujitsu.
Wasn't Sage Northcutt kind of like that?
Yeah, Sage Northcutt was exactly that. He was exactly, but even Sage now is well in his 30s.
and he
Probably
wasn't.
not too deep in his 30s, but even he was like that.
Yeah,
But
he wasn't.
that's my point. Is it's such an aged out art in a sense of like real combat. I don't think that many people are, and maybe that was Joe's point. Is that no one's really learning it for that anymore?
I'll go back and listen again.
Maybe that was his point, but I don't know if his point was that or is just that like those guys aren't crossing over because I'm willing to bet that there's not many guys that do that could cross over that are age appropriate.
It's such a funny time. Well, it's just such an advanced time. Like you're absolutely right. Like it used to be like when we were in it. Oh, I started with karate. Karate turned to kickboxing. And then MMA, and now it's everyone's just going into MMA, and that the coaches aren't teaching that. Like me, like I wouldn't even know how to properly teach that. But yeah, that makes total sense. It's a lost art. It's fading, but there is a place for it. I don't want to say I totally disagree. There is a place for it in the sport, but it's going to be few and far between.
Speaking of few and far between, and thank God for Tautsa Taira
Oh,
because he's the last of the great Japanese MMA man. Kai Asakura just, I was
what
so
happened?
sad, but I was so sad watching that.
Yeah, I was like,
I was
huh.
so sad. I was like, ugh. I thought Japanese MMA was making a comeback.
So did
I
I.
really
Like
did. I thought it was making a comeback.
I had that one on the laptop because the Yankees Cardinals game was finished up. It's a big weekend in my house when it's Yankees Cardinals because she's a huge Cardinals fan, so we make a big thing of it. So we were finishing up the game, and I'm like, all right, yeah, that score looks good. That score looks good. And then I see Tim Elliott gave me some steam, and then the guillotine. I'm like, oh man, what did this guy lose focus? What happened? I was like, oh yeah. I mean, good for Tim Elliott. He's a little long in the tooth. But good, yeah, good for Tim Elliott. But yeah, like what happens now?
I mean, like think of the Japanese kid from a week ago who got slammed by Elijah Smith. Can't even remember his name.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it just makes me so sad because Japanese MMA is how I came up and it was so rich.
Sakuraba.
Yeah, it was so rich.
Mhm.
Back Ruben Asado, Max Sakurai. It was so rich. Takanori Gomi, who happened to be the
Oh,
RJ Clifford had him as his biggest bust in MMA history in terms of like signings, in terms of like
yeah,
high profile signings. And he might be, man. Remember how good he was in Shudo and in Pride. Then he comes to
yes,
the UFC and he goes like 4-9 in
yeah.
the UFC. Loses
He had
his
that many fights in the UFC. Wow.
and he loses like his last five in a row by first round finishes. And it's just like, ah,
He
damn.
was he was the one like, oh, how's that guy going to do against a BJ Penn, or like a Sean Shirk,
Yeah.
and and he dudded.
And then fast forward 20 years, we get Tautsa Taira, who doing work. Then he loses to Brandon Royval, and then he has a tremendous fight against Park, Hoon Young Park. So he's the last.
The Last Samurai.
He's the last samurai. For a while I thought it was Kyoji, right? Like Kyoji
Yeah.
was that guy, but
Hey, what's happening with him? He's back. He got hurt.
I don't know, man.
Oh,
But you gotta anticipate. You gotta expect now that if he's injured, it's taking this long, and
yeah.
he's probably aging out himself.
Right.
What can we expect from him in the UFC now?
Yeah. Totally forgot that he got signed again. Like, I think that says it all right there.
Yeah, what can we expect from him now? How good you think he's going to do now? Like he's been injured. He's got to be getting up there in age. He
Mm-hmm.
ain't fighting. It's like now, but I can't even expect nothing from him.
Yeah. Well, I hope that he does well. He's a good dude. But you're right. The Japanese are fading. Maybe they'll go for a run again. Maybe they'll figure out they get a hot little team going over there and figure out how to dominate the feather, freaking bantamweight and
Flyweight division.
highway division. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine.
Well, hold on, wait a minute. No, he's Chinese. I was thinking of the mountain lion, the one who just knocked out Anthony Smith, the mountain
Yeah.
lion. I can't say his full name, but he's Chinese.
Mm-hmm. Damn. So
Ah,
what else happened on that card? Oh, Prates, Carlos
oh,
Prates
Carlos Prates. Yeah, he looked really good actually.
looked really good. I mean, he's a world beater. I,
Yeah.
I, I hope they stop making such a big deal about the smoking. Like, we got it. He smokes. I wouldn't do it. it works for him. Whatever. I mean, I think maybe it'll get magnified again if he loses, and because if he loses a fight, if he has a fight where he loses later rounds, not
Yeah.
necessarily. What's going to happen is he just loses the rounds, and people are going to be like, shouldn't be smoking. But I'm sure that conversation will come up again. But whatever. I think that he's good. The fight nerds. I love what they do, man. I love how much fun they have. I love the glasses and everything, and it's such a good. You can tell they got a great team culture. You know, they're all there, and I love that watching that team. Um,
One thing about the whole Carlos Prates smoking thing, I mean, it's interesting that he has that vice. It's very interesting because it's something that we've always been told not to do. We've always been conditioned to not do certain things. Like if you want to be
yeah,
successful, you can't do this. And a guy like Carlos Prates goes out there and he just smokes cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? He smokes cigarettes.
Mhm.
And that's seemed to be like the worst thing for you because you need your lungs, right? But this guy wasn't even remotely breathing.
yeah,
I mean, obviously it was the first round, but like he was moving a lot. He was throwing big shots. He was taking shots. And
hmm
he didn't remotely look uncomfortable, which leads me to believe that a lot of the things that we've been conditioned to believe are in our head.
Well, you make me think of like when you're working out. Oh, gotta have that protein shake at
Yeah, right.
10 years later. You gotta have the protein shake before.
Yeah.
It's like you just learned. Now, granted, yes, apples and oranges, smoking cigarettes, protein shakes, but yeah, things change. I remember
Well,
there was wrestlers in college. They would get nervous before the finals, go out, smoke a cigarette. This
that's
isn't new.
but that's my point. Is that what I'm saying is this too is like, typically like the type of guys who smoke cigarettes aren't the type of guys that can fight.
Yeah,
So I'm not saying that's like the reason why he's good. I'm just saying that despite smoking cigarettes, you can still be good. It doesn't really encapsulate who you are as a fighter.
right.
And when you think about like the Russian and Dagestani guys who are so disciplined, that speaks to them because they're disciplined and they avoid all that stuff. But I'm more than willing to believe that, when you have that type of self-belief and when you're good, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But it's
Like,
just most people aren't good enough to do that.
yeah, he's not worried about, oh, people tell me I got to quit smoking. Maybe I should. He's like, no, I smoke. Either that or eating a pizza, Lauren Sanko said. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I get it. I don't want to eat a pizza. So, I mean, man, when we were training, we used to dip. I mean, technically it's better than smoking, but is it? It's all gross.
Yeah. I don't know. I just, I always think about like smoke and in your lungs. Like you need, like it's like
Yeah, no,
destroying
yeah,
your lungs and you need your lungs
yeah,
to breathe.
yeah,
But I mean,
for
but how is
sure.
that any different from like smoking weed? Like you're still breathing in
Right.
smoke and most fighters smoke weed. So is
hmm
it that much different from like having smoke in your lungs? Just like the smoke aspect of it?
See, I've never smoked cigarettes and I've only smoked weed a handful of times, so I can't really give an opinion from experience, but uh, I guess weed is more organic. I don't know.
No, but see, but that's not my point. Like my point isn't like what's better for your health. I'm more so referring to like lung sustainability and lung capacity. Like
Yeah,
does the smoke from weed is shouldn't that be the same because it's still smoke? Almost like if you put your mouth on an exhaust pipe and was
right.
breathing in smoke, like that would be bad for your lungs regardless. So smoking cigarettes and weed, just like the smoke portion of it, should still have an effect on your lungs. It should. But my man is disproving that theory. Well, Ricardo Mayorga used to smoke cigarettes too before shit.
I'm sure that uh, I'm sure that some fans gonna be watching this. Please answer this for us. Why is it more okay to smoke weed and not cigarettes before a fight? Because
Yeah,
I have
that's
no
not.
idea.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll get a bunch of comments about, oh, well, weed is natural, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm strictly referring to the idea of having smoke in your lungs, like direct smoke in your lungs.
It grosses me out. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, it grosses me out. I remember the first time I smoked weed. I was coughing like crazy. I was like, I thought my lungs were on fire. I don't know what I did wrong. And of course, I got my pothead friends like, oh, that means it's working. That means it's working. You're good, good. Go, man. I'm like, this is horrible.
Yeah, man,
Am I high yet?
I took one hit on Rogan's last Wednesday, man, and was high for the whole hour. I was
Yeah,
like, yo, I was like, yo, don't call on me.
yeah. That would that would ruin me. That would ruin. Although one time, I remember I hurt my back when I was training. I hurt it bad. I had a really bad back pull. And a friend of mine, she did kickboxing at ATT, and she goes, "You got to smoke." And I was like, "I don't smoke." And she goes, "No, I got this pen. There's only like 2 puffs in it. Take it." I'm like, "All right, whatever. Screw it." I remember Amanda was away. We were married at the time. So I take the 2 puffs, and I was feeling it, because I don't smoke. And then lo and behold, I go on, and The Godfather was on TV, and I'm like, "Oh no!" And then I was craving Italian food like crazy. So I just sat there all on my couch, like, whoa, I ordered chicken parm and meatball sub, and I'm just watching The Godfather. But then I woke up and my back felt better, significantly better. So I'm like, man, this shit, whatever this is, there is some benefits, I guess.
So, I guess the only other thing on the card that had everybody scratching their head was the decision between Karine Silva and Deonna Barbosa. That was a bit awkward.
Yeah,
When that
yeah,
decision was ready. Certain fights when Joe Rogan goes into the cage, you just and even like we just know who he's going to talk to. And then in that situation,
uh,
I think everybody was thrown off like, whoa.
yeah. What did you think? You go first on that one. I mean, I was watching on mute and I saw some. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I thought Deonna Barbosa won. I really did. And I'm a Karine Silva fan. Like I love her. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
a fan. And I thought she lost.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, I don't because I know so much about the scoring now. It's very rare that I really piss and moan about a decision. I really can't think about the last one, but I was like, oh, I thought it went the other way, but whatever. I didn't think really much of it. I saw some ground control, but then I saw some move. So I don't know. Maybe because it was on the prelims, it kind of got overshadowed with everything else that was going on, especially the Khamzat, what happened there, and the double elbows and shit. Oh, and the bonus is going out. Uh, are they spending that Paramount money before they get it?
But what were the bonuses?
They had two of the 50 grand elbow bonuses, and then I think that Hamzat got a bonus as well. Like, or maybe it. They announced it like before the press conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, give him the bonus. Yeah, give him the bonus.
Mm.
It's like blank check. But, no,
Yeah, I don't know too much. I know that I think they told Lerone Murphy he was getting a bonus before Carlos. One of them guys, they told him in the cage he
both
didn't
of
get
them.
yeah, that they were
I
getting a
think they
bonus.
told both of them in the cage. I
Yeah.
think they told both of them in the cage.
Which they never do, which is kind of
Yeah,
awkward. Yeah.
yeah.
Kind of cool actually.
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
You got that Paramount money now.
Well,
um,
so when we talk about the Ali Act and everybody's talking about the Ali Act because it's fighters and their money, I think the bigger issue that we should be concerned with because more fighters have been affected by this financially than the Ali Act, especially in the MMA perspective, um, is getting fucked on decisions
mhm.
and not getting their win bonus.
Yeah, that was
That's a real conversation.
that's where my concern was when I was talking about the scoring.
Yeah.
If or I was like, yo, if you're gonna do it this way, then you as the commission needs to do a better job of educating the fighters and the team. Then that's where I mean we've gotten a little bit better, a lot better since I had those conversations. But yeah, that's a real conversation for sure. It's how do you justify like how do you know they're getting their win bonus? I mean, I know it kind of puts the UFC in a funny place, but that it should be considered.
I just think that I mean you can't get rid of like legally like through legislation get rid of win bonuses, but I just think that the whole show win model is so antiquated. And
Right.
it was a time I remember thinking about how it even became a thing in the first place. I think it just became a thing because of like the tournament format, like the incentive to win makes you more money. So then when they started doing it just incentivizes you to win because you make more
Yeah.
money. But at this point in your life, if you're an MMA fighter, like you don't need that to be incentivized to win. Like the idea of keeping your job and moving
Raising your
up and
brand.
yeah, moving up is should be enough to motivate you to win. So I think they totally need to do rid of that show win person. I've thought that for the last 10 years, like even more
So
so.
from what I've seen in MLB, actually, let's talk about NFL. There has been times where players will sit out when they got guaranteed money. So the way the UFC can get ahead of that is not paying them by fight. You would have to pay them on a salary per certain amount of years. Um, there is some area to iron out with that, I think, because like you do have players that they get their money. Like Aaron Judge, he got paid and he's won 2 MVPs since then, 2 out of 3 seasons. He's probably about to win his fourth. So athletes do perform once they get paid. Um, I know fighting it's a little different, but they can iron that out. First of all, unless you're John Jones, like look at John Jones. He's kind of sitting out, like he kind of did that towards the end, and so they would have to put an expiration date on that contract if they're gonna get away from the win bonuses. I think.
Well, no, I mean you can still do just show. I mean fight.
Yeah. Fight
You
the
get
fight.
paid to
Yeah.
fight and you get bonused to finish. I think
Yep.
bonuses should be for finishing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there should be maybe bonuses for finishing or even bonuses. Like I think that they could structure bonuses better as opposed to like win bonuses. You could structure bonuses based on like you should get a bonus for having connected so many power punches. Like if you
Yeah.
connect like if you land 300 shots in a fight, you get an extra 20 grand or something like that. I think that's the way they should bonus people. But like if you want exciting fights, that's how you bonus people. But don't bonus because in fact that is and I've always thought this too even in my career that it was a conflict of interest for me to win at times knowing that the easiest way to win would be to avoid the fight.
That is a very real solution. And going back to MLB, I know pitchers, if you pitch X amount of innings per year, you get a bonus. And hitters, they get X amount of at bats, they get a bonus because that means you're staying in the game.
Yeah.
Actually, there was one situation. There was a pitcher, CC Sabathia. He needed one more inning. It was towards the end of the year to get his bonus, which was like another $1 or $2 million. But a pitcher, the inning before on the opposing team, beamed one of his guys, and he said, "Fuck it," and he beamed the player when he got out on the mound, and they ejected him before he got to his inning. And then it's like because he's a team player. I mean, they gave him the bonus anyway, but that was a cool story. That's that reminded me. But anyway, there's real stuff like that. They do touchdowns and receptions in NFL.
That's how they should do it, man.
They
They
can
should
do
do
it.
bonus. They should do, you should get a flat fee to fight, and bonuses come from significant strikes landed, maybe even significant strikes absorbed, you get a bonus for.
Yep.
Yeah, submissions you should get a bonus for. Like that's, I think those should be bonused out and not, um, or even submission, like legit submission attempts, you should even get bonus for that. But to win, to get a win bonus to me is moving backward, is moving us, keeping us backwards.
Yep. I agree. I'm ready to move on from that.
Yeah. All right, what else? I think we covered it all, huh?
I felt the post fight. I saw some clips on the post fight press conference. It was interesting. I was a little upset that well, I mean they're renovating the Apex anyway, but it's not as big as we thought, I guess. And I thought that was pretty funny how Dana White said that was complete bullshit and it's not gonna be 5,000 people. I was like, oh, okay. We talked about Khamzat fighting in October in Dubai. I mean, there was a couple other things. I thought it was good. It was a good night of fights overall.
Yeah,
I thought it was
yeah.
a great card.
Yeah, when my son hit me up, he was like, "Yeah, man, it was a great card." I said, "All right." He's pretty much a casual, so
Yeah.
if he enjoyed the card, then I feel like it was a good card then.
Does he watch it when you're working?
Yeah, he watches. He watches with his little buddies and shit.
Cool. Cool.
So don't worry, your son will be there one day too, man, watching fights with you.
Yeah. Try to
Yeah.
get. He can watch a little bit of baseball now. He likes watching football.
Mm.
Um, and Minecraft. That's his thing.
Well, this weekend, what do we got this weekend?
Shanghai.
Shanghai this weekend. You're doing your.
I don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I
So
mean,
we won't
maybe
announce it.
I'll do a post fight. Maybe, but I might do a fight companion.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So this weekend, I'm filming a movie this weekend. I'm doing a short film that I wrote and directed. I'm filming that this weekend.
All right.
So yeah, so I'll keep y'all posted on how the progress of that. But
I started a second YouTube channel that's just YouTube shorts, just hot takes on sports going on outside of MMA. So,
what's the name of that?
Quinn Uncaged. Like I'm outside the cage. Quinn Uncaged.
Quinn Uncaged. Make sure y'all peep that. Quinn Uncaged. Well, all right, let's get up out of here, man. We'll catch up again next week. And if you enjoyed the show, make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe. And we'll be back next week. On that note, this court is adjourned.
Peace.